Hello people, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time on the channel, a special welcome to you. I ask that you check out the rest of my videos. If you like what you see, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, but more than anything, I'm asking that you subscribe to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little different because I'm going to be doing a little bit of mixing and mashing of 3 or 4 different subjects. And the reason why I've decided to, well, you could call this an experiment type video, is because 4 months ago I did put out a survey asking my viewers and subscribers as to what region would you guys like to see me discuss on the channel. And within that survey I did include Jamaica and also the entire world. Well, thus far it's only 64 people that actually voted, and of the 64, 28% says the world and 29% says Jamaica. So as you can see, they're kind of neck and neck with Jamaica, just having a tiny slight lead over the world. So I'm still unsure, considering that it's only 64 people that voted. I'm still unsure as to what the entirety of my subscribers would like me to discuss, and for that reason I decided to test that survey by addressing some non-Jamaican issues, but issues that I actually find interested and have a personal opinion on it, because I'm not only for Jamaica and I'm not only for the Caribbean, but I've chosen to make Jamaica and Jamaican topics my main core topics only because I am Jamaican and I know Jamaica inside out, and I'm of the culture. So most of what I'm gonna say about Jamaica now or in the future, I can actually substantiate that by either personal experience or personal knowledge. So today I want to talk about Jamaica's relationship with China. And despite the misconception or the conception that we have with the Chinese population growing in Jamaica, there has been a recent show of what I would call, between Andrew Holness and the president of China, bromance. There seemed to be a bromance brewing between Jamaica's prime minister and the president of China. And from what I've seen, it's a good look for Jamaica. It's a good look in the sense that China has embraced Jamaica for trading, and Jamaica has embraced China for trading, and that is a good thing. One thing I do know about China, from reading and from attaining through different mediums their historical behavior, is that the Chinese has always been the type of people who they visit other country, but they were never in takeover mode. And I was actually impressed after learning that the Chinese has a historical trait that they only truly wants to do business. So the panic that Jamaicans have, including myself as well, you know, I'm not going to exclude myself out of that. There was a brief period that I did have a panic, and I was wondering, are the Chinese trying to take over Jamaica? I kind of blame that misconception on Andrew Holness, because it was way later, after Jamaica went up in a whole panic frenzy, that he came and assured the Jamaican people that the Chinese will not be taken over. But I did see some highlights of Andrew Holness's visit to China. He visited the Great Wall of China, he visited some temples and some museum, but outside of his dignitary tour, let me call it a dignitary tour, I could see the genuine embrace and warm welcome of the Chinese people to Andrew Holness, the trading agreement, and especially the Jamaican products. True be told, as I was discussing with my wife, when it comes to China and Jamaica versus Jamaica and the US, Jamaica's culture and Chinese culture does have a lot more in common than the US culture. The Chinese are not strangers to struggles. The Chinese are not strangers to hard work and hard life. So when you, as I was saying to my wife, you know, the Chinese, their culture, they're not strangers to, say, for example, a leak in their roof, or say walking in mud or working in dirty fields. That is a part of the Chinese culture, and their wealth that they currently have today. The Chinese deserve it, and the Chinese have earned it. And when it comes to our food, you know, when you put Jamaican food versus, say, the United States of America food, say Chinese food, seasoning, and so on, Jamaica's culture and the Chinese culture, when it comes to food, we do have a lot more in common than the United States of America. So the reason why Donald Trump is actually on my thumbnail is for the simple fact that a lot of things came to my mind after realizing the brotherhood or the bromance. However, it's not facts because I have not attained any information that told me that it's so. But in my own brain, I'm human. I'm allowed to think whatever I want to think. So I did go, okay, so Jamaica is hugging and kissing up with China. I can see where that would not be pleasing to the United States of America. So then again, I start thinking, oh, so maybe all this visa cancellation and all this reneging of friendship with Donald Trump versus Andrew Holness, maybe the pot is starting to boil down, and I'm seeing what it is clearly as it started to simmer. I mean, if you watched my previous video, you know how I feel about Andrew Holness. Of all the Prime Minister of Jamaica, I claim that Andrew Holness is the best Prime Minister, in my personal opinion. But at the same time, even though I feel that way about Andrew Holness, it never stopped me from lashing out at Andrew Holness when he visited Donald Trump in Florida, and when I was under the impression that Andrew Holness was bowing to Donald Trump and his demands. So my love comes as a Jamaican type love. I give tough love. So as much as I like what Andrew Holness represents, if in my view Andrew Holness steps out of line, I'm going to call it exactly how I see it. But this video is pretty much to say to Jamaican people and to Andrew Holness, from what I see so far, it's a good look. It's a good look that Jamaican products will be in China, and the Chinese people welcome Jamaica and its product in a trade-in. And at the same time, Jamaica is embracing China's support and its love to our island. So it's not really much more I have to say about that particular subject, because like I say, in reality, my video today was not planned around Jamaica, but considering that I did see that article and I did become aware of that information where Andrew Holness visited China, I just decided, let me put it there. But my real core video message today has actually nothing to do with Jamaica. It actually has something to do with three different sets of African national. So for you guys who might not have known, a couple months ago, I believe it was June of this year, there was a man that fell from the sky in the United Kingdom, in London to be exact. And when I say fell from the sky, I'm actually referring to a man who actually hid in the landing gear of a plane that was coming out to Nairobi, Kenya, destination London. And as the gear opened, he either fell or he jumped out and died. But as I was watching a program today that was titled something to the effect of The Man Who Fell from the Sky, where the journalist was actually venturing Nairobi, Kenya, I was actually appalled and disappointed to see the area of Nairobi, Kenya, where this person was supposedly come from. It is a neighborhood in Nairobi, Kenya that's called Makuru Kwajenga. And upon seeing footage of this neighborhood, I was truly appalled that in this day, 2019, people are still living like that. In my opinion, it's unacceptable. You understand? Because in the 1980s and the 70s, when I was growing up in Jamaica, I am aware of people that's living in poverty and squalor. But then, let's face it, the world was moving at a slower pace then. In today's day and age where resources is so plentiful, it broke my heart to see people living like dogs, or worse than dogs. After seeing it, I decided, you know what, I have to comment on that, for the simple fact that of all the countries in the world, the African continent is one of the richest continents in natural resources. And up until today, it is still one of the poorest continents. And that says to me, black people are still being brainwashed. Black people are still being controlled by outsiders. Because let's face it, I'm not promoting racism here, but I'm calling it as I see it. Look at all the so-called first world countries versus their natural resources production. It's almost zero when you compare that to Africa. So I don't see why the Africans in Africa should be living like that today. Obviously, I kind of know why. That there are a bunch of selfish leaders in Africa, in individual countries, that's still being controlled by people on the outside. But come on, man, Africans, we need to unite in order for our people to live better. We all have one life to live. We live and we die. Whether we live it rich or we live it poor, we all gonna die. I know that. But what I'm saying is, we don't have to hurry up death, and we don't have to let our people live in such pain and frustration and misery. Because when I saw the footage of that neighborhood, it was just ugly. And I know that it represents a lot more of African neighborhood, but it's unaccepted. I mean, I can come up here and I can talk and I could criticize and I could say, yo, that's not right and that's not right and blah, blah, blah. And then the world goes on the same way. But I'm saying, I'm actually pleading from the bottom of my heart, we have to do something about that. And what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about sending care packages to Africa to make someone be happy for a day. Africans deserve their fair slice of this cake. For all the gold and all the diamonds and all the oil and all the other natural resources that's in the land of Africa, no Africans should be working for a measly £2 a day and calling that a life. It's unfair. And when I say African, I'm pointing directly to the continent of Africa, but I'm also pointing to my Jamaican people, my Caribbean people, outside of any so-called first world country. We are offsprings of African ancestors. Our ancestors are African. I'm definitely against the complainants. You know, it seemed like black people are always complaining about this, always complaining about that, especially when it comes to African Americans. I listen to African Americans, especially when it comes to crime and violence in the United States of America. And after time, I just kiss my teeth because, in my opinion, they are only about talk. You're just saying, oh, look what they did to us. Look what they're doing to us. Blah, 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 blah. But what are you going to do about the situation? Actions speak louder than words. But anyway, the black Americans, they're quite okay in their country. So back to Africa. People, I don't even know how or where to start. But I have to say, Africans must unite. And when I say unite, I don't mean unite as in to create a revolution or a war. But what I'm saying, Africans must unite in the mind. And they must come to some constructive and intellectual reasoning about their present status and what they want for their future. Stop being so selfish. You know, Africans, we tend to be selfish because we only want to shine above the next person, say, hey, look how I'm living, and so on and so forth. That attitude, I mean, listen, I'm not being naive here. I understand that it could fall in their ears, but just by saying how I feel about the situation makes me feel as if I'm at least doing my part. Now for a heartfelt story, and yes, it is in discrimination of some white people. So I'm going to put that out there now because you know what? Nobody adopts children in this world more than white people do. But white people, if you're going to adopt children, take the adoption seriously and take the children for what he or she may be. Most white people in America especially wants to go to Africa, wants to go to Asia, and wants to adopt these children, and then it becomes a fashion, it becomes an in thing, it becomes, look, I'm a better human being because I went to Africa and I got these starving children, and look, now I'm a respectable person, I can add it to my resume, and God will bless me more, or I'm just overall a better human being because I extended some of my luxury and I raised this child. Listen, I'm not taking the credit away from any human being, black, white, yellow, green, or purple, who goes out of their way to adopt a child and raise that child to an adult and give them a life that they probably would never have had if that adoption didn't come true. So all credits and hats off to everyone who has adopted children that were abandoned or children that could use that opportunity. However, I came across an article about a boy named Moses. Moses was a 4-year-old Liberian that was adopted by a couple, Ian and Carol Johnson of British Columbia in Canada. And he was adopted at age 4. And that was a beautiful thing. He went to Canada and they wrote articles about how well he is and how perfect of a child he is, and all the goody stuff. They got him his Canadian documents, and little Moses was a Canadian within a few months, or he was a Canadian upon arrival in Canada. But only about 8 to 9 months later, Ian and Carol had enough of little Moses and decided that they can't deal with him anymore and they're going to give him away. Despicable, if you ask me. So even though this child is now a Canadian child, and the authorities that she had initially contacted told her that you can't give away a child like that, she still went on the internet. It was a Yahoo chat room, and she found someone in Houston, Texas, who was willing to take the child. And just like that, she took this kid to Houston, Texas, and gave the kid away to a woman by the name of Ambrosia Marvin. Fortunately, Ambrosia Marvin was actually a good person. So, fortunately for Moses, his situation didn't end tragically. However, there have been situations that has ended tragically because there were journalists who started to probe these sites online and realizing that rehoming was actually the new term that was being used for moving one child from his adoptive home to giving them away to total stranger, like their pets, like their puppies. Another moving story was 5 children. It was 3 girls and 2 boys. They were brothers and sisters, and they were from Ethiopia, where their mama died and the father could not care for them anymore. So he gave them up to a adoption board in Ethiopia. And fortunately, a family in Wisconsin, USA decided to take all 5 of them. You know, I could only imagine how lucky these children feel. But just like Moses, within 6 weeks after these kids were in the United States of America, the family decides that they don't want to have anything to do with them. And people, the family actually took them to a McDonald's parking lot and just dumped all 5 of the kids there. I need to say nothing more than what I initially said when I actually start this. I'm speaking most of the white people who have the ambition to adopt Black and Asian kids, but I'm also speaking to black people who also wants to adopt kids. Children are children, and children will forever behave in the manner of children. So when you adopt children, you have to expect that they will behave in the very same way or similar ways as if you had given birth to them. They won't be perfect human beings. Because one of the story that I read actually said a woman adopted a Chinese girl, and within 5 days of adoption, she decided she didn't want the child no more. And she actually says 90% of the time, the child is a great kid, but that 10% she cannot deal with. That is ridiculous. So here's the thing. As mean As inconsiderate as this may sound, if you are not willing to adopt children and take on the full responsibility with full expectation that they are mere human beings, leave them where they are. Leave them in Asia and leave them in Africa. Anyway, people, that's pretty much for a wrap for today. I think I've rambled on long enough, and like I say, this one was actually a mixture just to kind of feel where my viewers and my subscribers would like me to go, because I don't have to stick to Jamaican story. I don't have to stick to Caribbean story, because all the happenings of the world interest me, and I often have an opinion, or I often have a suggestion, but I don't bring it to my channel because I've kind of modeled my channel to be focused on Jamaica and the Caribbean. But let me know how you guys feel about hearing my opinion or my views to other happenings in the world, and let me know how many of you suggest that I keep it universal and not just within Jamaica. So that's pretty much it for now, people. And like I say on my channel, I accept agreement and I accept disagreement. I accept thumbs up and I accept thumbs down, because at the end of the day, each one teach one. Until next time, people. Peace.